What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing another 5 best and 5 worst. If you are new here, if you're not familiar with the series that I do on my channel, basically what it's all about, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I talk about my 5 favorite and my 5 least favorite products from either a category or a brand or a topic. And today we are going to be exploring my 5 favorite and my 5 least favorite new products. So there has been quite a few new product releases lately, and I felt like it would be helpful for you guys if I sort of just like went down some products that have really stood out to me that I've been really loving, and then of course some other products that I'm just not loving so much. I feel like I sort of want to do this type of 5 best and 5 worst at least monthly, just because there's so many new products that are constantly being released. I feel like it would be really helpful for you guys to get this type of video every month so that you can get a good idea of what products you should be focusing on, what products you shouldn't be focusing on, or at least based off my own experiences. Let me know in the comments if that would be something that you would be down for. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So as always with my 5 best and 5 worst videos, I like to start off on a positive note. All right, so first let's start off with a skincare product. This is brand new from Drunk Elephant. It's called the Slay Makeup Melting Butter Cleanser, and this is pretty much a cleansing balm. So if you're not familiar with what cleansing balms are, it's pretty much a solid oil balm-like texture and formula, and what you do is you take a little bit of this, you melt it into your hands, you massage it all over your face when you want to remove your makeup, and it completely dissolves and gets rid of your makeup. I personally always have to have a cleansing balm in my makeup removing process. I really take taking off my makeup very seriously. I never go in with like just a makeup wipe and just take off my makeup and leave it at that. Like, I go in with 5 different products to make sure that every single piece and like morsel of makeup is completely off of my face. And a cleansing balm is just so great to completely break down even like the most difficult and long wearing makeup. Now, not all cleansing balms are made equal, which is why I wanted to put a little spotlight on this guy, because I feel like it's so great and effective. There's some cleansing balms that really just don't work very well. They don't really like dissolve the makeup as they should. Some leave like a really annoying oily residue on the face that never really feels like it goes away. This is probably though my favorite cleansing balm I've ever used. What I also love so much about cleansing balms, especially this one, is how gentle and almost soothing it is to apply to the skin. It doesn't irritate the skin whatsoever, especially if you have more of like a drier skin type. This is beautiful to use because it is like an oil-based texture. It just feels really nice and moisturizing after you remove your makeup. As you can see, I really love the product. I am almost completely out of it, which is sort of crazy because I've only had this in my collection for about 2 weeks. So that's the only thing about cleansing balms. I don't feel like they last a very long time. So that would be like the only downside for me, but it's so nice. It's my favorite one that I've used, and I definitely think it's worth checking out if you're looking for a great little makeup removing product. Okay, so number 2 on my list is a new lip product from Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Last Liquid Catsuit High Shine Lipstick. This has very, very quickly become one of my new favorite lip gloss formulas. So I have been trying so many different gloss formulas, and I gotta say, when I tried this one from Wet n Wild, I was so impressed with the formula, the way that it wore, the way that it looked, just everything about it is truly perfect. So this color is Said Nudes. It's one of my favorites from the collection. Obviously, it's a nude, but it's like the most perfect nude for my skin tone. It's not too light, it's not too dark. It's sort of neutral enough that it really goes with any eye look or anything else that I have going on in my face, and I just feel like it's such a versatile gloss. But what I love most about this gloss, not only the color, because the color is a little bit more personal preference, but the formula is just beautiful. On the lips, it has a very, very thin texture, which is what I love in a gloss. What I hate in a gloss is a thick, goopy texture, because when a gloss is too thick and goopy, I mean, I feel like it's just sort of like a recipe for disaster. It just never wears well. It sort of goes everywhere. It looks just not flattering. I mean, you could see the product on my lips. It's really nice and shiny, but it has that beautiful texture to it, so it feels like nothing. It feels like a lip balm at best. The pigment on these glosses are also just perfect. They are that perfectly pigmented glosses that, you know, gives a little bit of color to your lips, but it's not so incredibly pigmented that it makes it difficult to wear. I just really love everything about it. And of course, it's from Wet n Wild, so it's very, very affordable. So love these. Totally would have to 100% recommend them. So next up I have like a skin slash priming product. This is the Cover FX Dewy Skin Primer Plus Hydrating. Now, this is definitely a primer that I would only really recommend to those of you who have normal to dry skin. If you have oily skin, stay far away from this because this is not going to be your friend. If you want glowy, glass-like skin, please look no further. This product will give it to you. This is a very effective product, which is great. It does what it's meant to do. It really makes your skin look very, very dewy. So because of that, I just wouldn't put this all over the face because like I said, it could be a little bit too much. So what I have been doing, what I've been loving is putting this product sort of just in like the areas of my face where I want that extra bit of dew and glow. So kind of just in this like C shape on both sides of my face, and it just makes your skin look juicy. I actually really like this to transform my more matte foundations. I feel like it definitely makes them a little bit more hydrating and a little bit more dewy looking, obviously. So if you are somebody who does have dry skin, who has matte foundations that you want to make a little bit more versatile, that you feel like doesn't always work on your skin because they accentuate your dryness or they make you look a little bit too flat, putting a primer like this on underneath is really, really going to help transform that foundation and make it a little bit more suited for your skin type. Like I've tried a lot of different types of primers, like hydrating primers, primers that give your skin more of a glow, but I've never really tried something that actually just gives your skin that purely dewy look. There's no shimmer or even sheen to it. It's just very, very hydrating and almost slightly oily. Comparing the two hands, this one has the product. It has much more of like an intense sheen compared to this guy, which has nothing on it. The only other product that I feel like is comparable to this one is the Hourglass No. 28 Primer Serum. It's a very, very similar texture. Actually, I feel like if you don't want to purchase that Hourglass one because it is a little bit on the pricier side, this would be a great alternative. Of course, it is Cover FX, so it's not like drugstore price, but it is definitely way less expensive than that No. 28 Primer Serum. All right, next up I want to talk about a palette from Nars that I have just been loving so much. So this is the Nars Expose Cheek Palette. This is a highlighting blush type of formula. So this is not a completely matte powder, but it's also not overly glowy and shimmery like a lot of like blush highlighters can be. For example, one of the last palettes they came out with was the Hot Tryst or Hot Tryst. I still don't know how to say it. I'm so sorry, guys. It's this palette over here, which is somewhat similar, but the formula is completely different. The formula in this guy is actually way more intense and way more metallic. Because the glow in this is a little bit more metallic and a little bit more intense, it can sometimes be difficult to pull off if you have any texture on your cheeks because it will really accentuate it. However, this guy I feel like is the more wearable version of that palette, and I like it so much more. These can be used in a few different ways. The lighter shades can obviously be used as a highlighter depending on your skin tone, and then the more like brighter shades and even this like deeper shade over here can be used as blushes. So you can use them on its own if you want a very sheer wash of color, because all of these powders are quite sheer. You would have to build them up quite a bit in order to get anything like super, super bright and intense. But what I personally like to do is I actually like to layer these on top of other blushes that I'm wearing. So let's say I'm wearing more of a matte blush. I love to layer like one of these powders over it just to give a nice sheer like wash of glow and a little bit more color to my cheeks. So I'm just gonna take some color on my Bobbi Brown blush brush. I'm gonna grab this shade right here and I'm just gonna apply it over the blush that I already have on my cheeks. And you can see that it adds a little bit more color, but even better, it adds this beautiful like sheeny glow. That's the Nars Expose palette. Alrighty, so the very last product that I wanted to talk about with you guys are these new liquid eyeliners from Colourpop. I feel like it's difficult to find good color liquid eyeliners. Sometimes colored eyeliners could be a little bit watery. They may not really have like the pigmentation or the intensity that you're looking for, and these are so good. So first things first, what I love so much about these eyeliners are the colors. The colors are beautiful. They're not really like your typical colored eyeliner colors. They're a little bit different. Like for example, the yellow isn't like a bright in your face sunny yellow. It almost has this like really cool mustardy undertone. I feel like colored liquid liners are one of those things where you don't really use a ton. You use them every once in a while, so you don't really want to like invest in a more expensive liquid eyeliner option, and a lot of the liquid eyeliners that are colored from the drugstore honestly aren't that fantastic. The ones that I have tried anyway, I feel like I've never really been super impressed with them. These are the first colored liquid eyeliners that I've tried that I've really been very impressed with, high-end or drugstore. So it just gives you that opportunity to, you know, be able to play around with your makeup and also not having to break the bank. Not only are the colors amazing, but they're also extremely long wearing. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have some swatches over here in my hand, and I could like rub it and rub it and rub it, and it will go literally nowhere. It's fantastic. That's really all I gotta say about them. I would just say, you know, if you're looking to have some fun with your makeup, if you wanna play with color, but you don't wanna break the bank, but you also want something that's, you know, good quality, these are great. Alrighty, so now that we have spoken about some new products that I've been loving, it is time to talk about the 5 products that I'm not loving so much. I wanna make a little disclaimer before I begin in this section and just say that these are products that personally just haven't worked for me for one reason or another. They're not horrible products whatsoever. As I always say, what floats my boat may not float yours, and vice versa. Always take these opinions with a grain of salt. That's all I gotta say about that. Let's get into it. The very first product that I wanna talk about makes me so sad because I have tried to make this work so many times. So this is actually a hair tool that I purchased based off of the recommendation of Katie Jane Hughes. You guys know I love Katie. She is probably one of the best makeup people on like the platform in my opinion. She is just so talented, so amazing, and all of her recommendations I always take and I always love. She was actually using this product in her Instagram stories one day, and I literally was watching her stories, put my phone down, and made a Sephora order immediately. And it's really funny because I was actually watching one of Alana's newest videos, and she did the exact same thing. She was watching Katie's stories and purchased this based off of, you know, that story of her using it, because she just made this look so freaking good. So this is the Amika Deep Waver, and this is pretty much supposed to give your hair like these really beautiful mermaid style crimps. And on Katie, this tool made her hair look gorgeous, which is why I purchased it, because it just made her look so good. So this is not to say that this is a bad product whatsoever, because it definitely does exactly what it's meant to do. The reason why I don't like this product is because my hair is pretty short. It's about here. It is like impossible for me to make this look good in my hair, and I think it's because my hair is so short. And I've tried to make this work day after day after day, because this was not an inexpensive hair tool. I think it was like close to $200. So I really wanted to be able to make this work, but I feel like with shorter hair, it just doesn't look as good. It looks really almost 80s-ish. I'm still trying to figure this out. I have not given up yet, but it is a product that I feel like I'm only really gonna be able to use once my hair grows out a little bit. And so the only reason why I wanted to mention it today is because if you were considering this and you have very short hair, just be a little bit weary, because I feel like it's not the best suited for a shorter hairstyle. So this is definitely a product that I'm slightly disappointed in, because it didn't make me look as beautiful as Katie Jane Hughes. So very sad about that. But it's not a bad product. I really want to emphasize that. It just didn't work for my hair length. Number 2 on the list of products that I'm disappointed by is this Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. I feel like Urban Decay is one of those brands that has like 2 types of eyeshadow palettes. Ones that are so cohesive, so beautiful, so amazing, just like everything I've ever wanted in an eyeshadow palette. And then other palettes just make no sense to me. This is one of those palettes that just doesn't really make much sense to me. Again, it's not to say that the eyeshadows in here are bad at all. This is just a palette that I really feel like is so not cohesive, and it's one of those palettes that really isn't an all-in-one type of palette. And it's not to say that I feel like every palette that I have needs to be an all-in-one type of palette. When a palette has this many shadows, and when it's this bulky and big and just like intense, for it to, you know, not really have everything that I need in one place to create a full eye look, it's just a little bit frustrating, and that's like one of my main issues with this product. So my problem with this palette, as I feel it is with a lot of Urban Decay palettes, is when I look at the shades in here. And even when I like section it off and I look at each section individually, it's very difficult for me to look at it and really figure out what type of look I want to create with it. The main issue that I have is that there's like really no mattes in here, and mattes are so important when creating an eye look. It pretty much is like the foundation to any eye look. Like you can't get around it. And unfortunately in this whole entire palette, you only have 3 mattes. You have this brown, this like more like rosy nude color, and then this very warm red. And I feel like these are not the shades that I need to create like well-rounded, beautiful eye looks with all of the other metallics that they've included in this palette. So because of all of those issues that I have, because I don't really feel super inspired when I look at this because of the layout, because I would have to go into another palette to grab mattes, and because I just feel like it's a little bit scattered and all over the place and not super user-friendly. And also because the packaging is just so bulky and it honestly takes up a lot of room on the vanity when I'm getting ready. I just don't feel like this is a palette that I'm ever really going to take out of my collection to use. But if you're looking at this palette and you love the metallics in here and you're looking for something to almost act as a complementary palette to your other matte palettes, then I would say totally go for it. There's really no problem with the actual formula of these eyeshadows. Overall, just not my fave. Okay, next up I have this little cream stick from Maybelline. It's the Maybelline and PUMA Color and Gloss Face Duo Stick. Now, when I first got this, I was actually really excited about it. You guys know that I love me my cream products, and the fact that this was called a cream like gloss stick got me even more excited because I love a good glossy highlight. So this product is pretty much a little duo. On one side you have the blush shade, and then on the other side you have the highlighter shade. I don't like this. The reason why I don't like this, I mean, there's a few reasons. First of all, I don't really like the layout of having 2 of these very creamy glossy formulas that are opposite colors to one another, one that's super dark and bright and the other one that's very light, right next to each other. Because when you start to, you know, use this more and more, there's no doubt that you're going to get some cross-contamination. Some of that red is definitely going to be going in that white shade, and it's going to completely, you know, mess up the color. My next issue with this product is the fact that this is so sheer and so glossy that it doesn't even really do anything to the cheeks. And I feel like because it is so sheer, it just is sort of like a pointless product. Now, I am all about a good sheer glossy product, but it has to be sheer and glossy to a certain extent. It can't be so sheer that it barely adds any color, and it can't be so glossy that it just sort of slips off of the face. And that's sort of my problem with this product. The rest of the product, once you blend it out, pretty much completely disappears into the skin. It gives like the most subtle wash of color to the face. The gloss side of it, so the highlighter side, is pretty much just like a clear glossy product. And again, it's just one of those clear glossy highlighters that sort of just disappears into nothing. It's just not really great. I feel like there are other cream stick formulas out there that are so much better than this, and I just feel like, you know, it's a little bit too minimal. Next up, I have this really strange product from Wet n Wild. It is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Cream Blush in the shade Rose in Peace. This is a funny product because it is actually a cream blush. And I know you're looking at this and you're like, how is that a cream blush? That's gray. It's super weird because when you actually swatch this on your skin, it transforms from this weird, ugly gray color into a little bit more of like a berry tone. Once this actually transforms to more of that like berry shade, it's still so incredibly subtle that it pretty much does nothing to the cheeks. It's so sheer. There's such little color to it that it really is so ineffective at giving you any type of color. And again, there's so many other cream blushes on the market that are beautiful, that do such a great job, even from the drugstore. The new Burt's Bees ones are gorgeous. I also feel like even though this does transform to more of like a berry shade, there's always still this weird like sort of grayish undertone to it. Like it doesn't completely transform all the way, which is obviously very unflattering because who really wants, you know, gray on their cheeks? I get that this is like, you know, a cool product because it transforms and it's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you're looking for a product that gives you a result, and this just doesn't give you a result, so I would skip on it. So the very last of my disappointing products that I want to touch on today are actually eyeliners from Glossier Play. Now, I did do a whole entire review on the whole entire Glossier Play collection. If you want to check that out, I will link that down below. I sort of wanted to reiterate the fact that I really found these eyeliners to be very disappointing, and they were eyeliners that I would say that you should probably skip on just because I just do not feel like they are worth the price. These eyeliners really upset me because they come in such fun and interesting colors that you don't always see over and over and over again, and that got me really excited. The formula, however, is really disappointing. It is a very, very sticky and very difficult formula to work with. This is not a formula that really glides on the eyes whatsoever, especially considering that this is called the Color Slide, and one of like the main marketing points for this product is that they are super creamy and very pigmented and you don't have to build them up. That is the most disappointing part because I feel like it doesn't really hit any of those points. It's not super pigmented, you do have to build them up, and they're not super creamy and they don't really glide on. So that is my main issue with these eyeliners. I just feel like there's so many eyeliners on the market, ones that are affordable, ones that are a little bit more high end, that have great colors, but that do perform really, really well. It's not to say, again, that these are horrible. I think that if you really loved one of the colors here, you could totally buy it and make it work. But if you're looking for something that's sort of, you know, going to give you an amazing effect right off the bat that you don't have to work super hard to achieve, these aren't going to be it, and I just feel like they're not totally worth picking up. That actually finishes off today's video. Those are my 5 favorite and my 5 least favorite new releases currently. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Don't forget to let me know some of your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on the products that I spoke about today. Do you also love them? Do you also not like them? Or are your opinions different than mine? I would love to get some of your comments down there. Of course, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.